This is the meeting of February 24th, 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to the applicable portions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, adequate notice of this meeting has been given. This meeting is posted on the bulletin board located in the corridor of this building and published in the newspaper on January 10th, 2020. Councilwoman Noonan will offer a prayer, and Councilman Guadagno will lead in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
For our future, gracious God, when the economy is in disarray, when young people are fighting faraway wars, when we argue over issues, refuse to listen to the other side, ask that your grace unfold us, move us from self-interest to compassion, from need to be right to the place, from self-interest to compassion, from need to be right, or doing the light. Let the love that is in the foundation of creation spread out like roots, bring life, healing, and wholesome to place and broken. I ask for the sake in your love, and remember our military, our police department, our firemen, and our first aiders. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Councilman Bacchione?
Here.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Present. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Here.
Councilman Guadagno?
Here.
Councilman Gross? Council President Buccio?
Here. Okay, item number 4, discussion by administration.
Thank you, Mr. President. Item A is a request from the Environmental Education Program Foundation to waive fees for their annual car show, which is May 23rd, 2020, which happens to be my birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Thanks. Thank you. And then I want to add, I received a call over the weekend from Jerry Frulio, who is the, I'm going to say, advisor to the Central Regional Autism Club, that they are having their Strikeout for Autism event on Saturday, April 4th at Veterans Park, and they're requesting the use of our park, stage area, along with the 2 golf carts. So if we can amend a resolution or official item 11.1, just to add the Strikeout for Autism, that would be great. This way we don't have to do a separate resolution.
I'll make a motion for that resolution.
Roll call. Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Buccio?
Yes.
Thank you, council members. Item B is coin tosses for our 3 fire companies, Bayville Volunteer Fire Company, Manitoba Park Fire Company, and Pinewall Pioneer. They are on the official as item 11.2, 11.3, and 11.4, as presented on the agenda. You know, we have 3 outstanding fire departments, and they do their fair share of fundraising, and these are just their annual coin tosses. So we look forward to approving them during the official.
Okay, item C is the endorsement of the appointment of fire official Brian Kubel to a 1-year term expiring the end of this year, 12/31/2020. So on the official agenda is item 11.5. We would have brought this to the council earlier, except that we believe it's a mayor's appointment and was done that way and was effective as of the first of the year. But the state Department of Community Affairs informed us they wanted a resolution. So after reviewing it with our attorney, we thought the best solution was to have a resolution put in front of you that endorses the mayor's appointment.
Item D is approving a community development block grant application by the engineers to apply for funding for the reconstruction of Guadalajara Drive. And that is on the official agenda number 11.5. I'm sorry, 11.6.
Item E is just their annual cancellation of taxes for 100% disabled veteran, block 9.49, lot 70, and that's on the official item 11.7.
Item F is, well, are 2 construction permit refunds. They're on the official agenda as item 11.8 and 11.9. The one for 236 Dogwood Drive, bulkhead review, was never required. The homeowner paid the fee, so it's going to be returned. And item number 2, 87 Pheasant Drive, They applied, never did the work, so we keep our 15% administrative fee and return the balance.
Item G is seeking the council's approval for an interlocal or shared service agreement between the township and the Ocean County Board of Health for animal facility services for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2024. That is on the official agenda, number 11.10.
Item H is annual MS bike run for May 9th, 2020. So that's on the official item 1111. This is something that we do each year. It's a fundraiser for the MS Foundation, and it's just something that we enjoy. I'm sorry?
2 days.
2 days? May 9th and May 10th.
and May 10th.
Yeah, May 9th and May 10th. It's on the official item 1111.
Item I is a resolution for your consideration, and that's allowing the Ocean County Fair July 10th through July 14th of 2020, and also waiving their fees. And that resolution is on the official agenda as item number 11.12. The next two are ordinances, introductions. J is allowing for a handicap parking spot in front of a residence. It's allowed by our code, but has to be done by ordinance. It's for 7 Sheffield Drive and is on the official agenda as item number 10. Item K is also the introduction of an ordinance. That's after a traffic study by our Traffic Safety Division of the Police Department. The recommendation was to change the speed limit on Bannoneer Drive to 30 miles per hour. And that's on the official agenda as item number 11. Item L is authorizing the sale of land. There's 3 different ones. This is just 3 resolutions. And as you know, the process, this gets it started and offers the undersized lots to the adjacent property owners to see if they have an interest. It's number 1 is block 513, lot 18 on Madison Avenue, and that's item number 11.13 on the official. Number 2 is block 513, lot 20 on Madison Avenue. That one's on the official agenda as 11.14. And the third one is block 792, lots 9 and 11 on Berkeley Avenue, and that's on the official as item number 11.15. Letter M is also authorizing a resolution authorizing an agreement with General Code for the codification of our ordinances. It's on the official agenda as item number 11.24, and this will be a really good catch-up to take some ordinances that the clerk has been diligently keeping track of for a couple of years, but it's much more difficult when they're not codified. So this will get them all in the book, and if I didn't say already, it's 11.24 on the official.
Item N, excuse me, is a transfer in the appropriation reserves. This is that bills had come in this year from last year's budget, so some transfers have to be made. There's not many of them. The total is $111,051.36, and there are sufficient funds to cover these, and that is on the official agenda, number 11.21. And letter O is an emergency temporary appropriation. Essentially, it just means another temporary budget to be put into place, which will cover the process as we go through the budget process through June 30th, and that is on the official agenda, number 11.22.
Item P is JCP&L has put forth. Again, they would like to raise rates 8%, and this is just something that whenever the utility companies put forth a petition to oppose the rates, we are usually the first town to usually oppose it because, you know, the majority of our residents are retired residents living on fixed incomes, and of course we have a lot of young families as well, hardworking families trying to make ends meet, and it just very upsetting that the utility companies that do this, they're looking for an 8% increase, and I've said this before, is that the municipal governments are expected to operate on a 2% cap, but yet here's the utility companies putting in for a large increase, and of course then they lower it at a later date. Why don't they be realistic and put forth a responsible rate, and then maybe we can actually have an honest discussion about it instead of the usual bait and switch. So I'm just recommending to the council that they oppose the 8% increase, and it's on the official item 11.23.
Item 5, comments from the mayor and council. Mayor Amato, do you have any comments?
Yes, I just received this letter today, so I just want to let you know, I just received it, just opened it. It was a letter addressed to me from the Silver Ridge Park First Aid Squad. It says, Mayor Amato, some time ago, we discussed about renaming the paper street. The street in question is presently used as a driveway for the Silver Ridge Park First Aid Squad. Since I understand this is an important matter, I take many factors into consideration. The person I was looking to honor was not only should be a squad member, but also very active in the senior community, the township and beyond. I believe with the help from a vote from the squad members, I found such a person. I've attached documentation, which I'd appreciate you looking over and tell me if you agree. Should you agree, we can have a dedication sometime in June or July with invited guests. This is a letter from Tony Papagallo, who's the president. And they, the squad is requesting the Township Council honor Captain Fran Dorino by renaming the street that currently is the ingress and egress to where the squad currently is located. So I would ask our esteemed attorney, with the support of the Township Council, that we draft an ordinance that we rename the street to the Captain Fran Dorino, Way would be appropriate.
Sounds good. D-O-R-I-N-O.
Yeah, D-U-R-I-N-O. Like I said, I just got this today, even though the letter's dated February 17th, I just got it today. So I'll hand you the whole thing.
Do I need to do a motion to?
Yes, to get it on the agenda.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call. Councilman Burns, Bacchione.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich.
Yes.
Councilman Burns.
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan.
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno.
Yes.
Councilman Gross.
Yes.
Council President Buccio.
Yes. Mayor Amato, anything else?
Just, it's just been a busy, since our last council meeting, up at Central Regional. The Special Olympians have been winning gold medals, silver medals, bronze medals. We have certificates that we will be presenting to them. Our cheerleaders, Berkeley AYF, were recently crowned champions as well. So our scout troops, there's been a lot of things going on. So just to give everybody fair warning, our March council meeting will be full of individuals that we will be honoring. So just to give everybody a heads up. The flag raising, Beverly, I believe, is going to be the 14th, March 14th.
St. Patty's 14th?
I think it's the 14th, March 14th. We could just double check that. To let everybody know it'll be here with the Ancient Order of Hibernians. Jerry, you have any info? No? So it's a Saturday, right? March 14th?
Yes.
Yes.
Saturday, March 14th will be the flag raising. So we'll get the information out to you. We'll put it on the website if anybody wants to come and attend the flag raising.
At
And
10
then-
a.m.?
Is that what it is?
Normally it is.
Okay. I had a note, but no information on it. Just the date, so I want to make the announcement of the date.
I think it's usually 11 a.m.
It's usually 11 because we have lunch.
That's
11?
right, you did change it to
11 o'clock. 11 o'clock Saturday, the 14th, flag raising with the Ancient Order of Hibernians. I don't remember which council it was. So it's open to anybody who wants to come, help support the month of March as Irish Heritage Month and honor St. Patrick. So, Mr. President, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mayor Amato.
That's it.
Councilman Bacchione.
Thank you, Mr. President. 3 issues that I want to bring to the council's attention. First, regarding the de-annexation application of South Seaside Park, the planning board was to see a resolution in their last meeting, which was the beginning of February, which we have not seen that resolution yet on the planning board. So as soon as the resolution is drafted and the planning board approves it, it'll be sent to the council for its review. Also, the Finance Committee met with the Housing Authority and representatives from the Housing Authority, including members of the board, and we asked some questions about future plans, and the Finance Committee that was there was myself, Sophia Gingrich, and Jim Burns, and we were satisfied with the information that we received, but we reserve the privilege of asking more questions in the future. The last item I wanted to talk about was something that did not happen to the representative from Berkeley Township on the Ocean County Natural Land Trust Board. In early March 2014, then freeholder John C. Bartlett Jr., the liaison from the freeholders to the Ocean County Natural Lands, asked me to represent Berkeley Township on that board. Now, for those of you who don't know what that board is, it's a board that recommends to the freeholders on properties to be purchased around the county, which the property is preserved forever as a natural land, so nobody could build on it or develop it at all. There's approximately $55 million in that account that the freeholders have at their access to purchase property. When Freeholder Bartlett asked me, I thought it would be a privilege for me to represent Berkeley Township on that board. It was a 3-year appointment. In 2017, I was reappointed by a unanimous decision of all the freeholders to be on that board. My term was up in February of this year, and I attended the freeholders meeting on Wednesday of last week, and I didn't see the representative from Berkeley Township, myself, on that agenda item. So we do not have representation on that board as it stands now. I was not reappointed as a representative for Berkeley Township. Now, 1 cent of our tax dollar goes towards this open space. So we pay into it. It's almost like taxation without representation. It's an honor to be on that board, representing the municipality and all the municipalities actually, but I found it to be an honor. And just so your information, I was not reappointed to that board. Therefore, Berkeley Township does not have any representation on that board. By the way, for those of you who are wondering, there is no salary, there are no benefits for that board. It's just a voluntary position.
Well, you want it.
Well, I mean, it represents Berkeley Township in a sense that, and the natural lands, the freeholders have purchased a lot of property in Berkeley Township. Good Luck Point is a great example of properties that have been purchased in Sandy by the freeholders, by Ocean County. So that land now, a lot of it is preserved. I don't know how many houses are left at Good Luck Point, but for those of you who might live there, you may be able to figure it out. There may be, a dozen, maybe 15 houses left. So I wanted to bring this to your attention.
Through the chair. Yeah, he's done. I'd like to make a motion. John has been a real advocate, him and the mayor, on this land trust. And this would be money to Historical Society to fix up the old town hall. We've actually halted development with this, off of Route 9 there by the Hess, that the mayor and John, we purchased that for the county. And, Berkeley, we're one of the largest municipalities, and we have a lot of wetlands and a lot of county properties, but we need representation there. And I don't know why John was taken off. He's done an excellent job there. And I'd like to make a motion that we send a resolution to the Board of Freeholders and say that John Bacchione be replaced, reappointed to the Land Trust, okay? And I want a strong letter. All right.
To the chair, I second that.
Roll call, Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Godano?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes.
You can finish.
Thank you, Jim. He's my senior. So yeah, I want to thank all of us here on the dais for that resolution. It's important that we represent Berkeley Township in many ways besides council. It means money out of our pockets, so it's something that we should keep our eyes on. So thank you all for that resolution. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Gingrich.
Good evening, everyone. I just have a reminder that the food bank will be this Friday February 28th, 9:30 to 11:30, 631 Jamaica Boulevard. If you know anyone in need, I have now 3 people that we are delivering food to. People are hurting, so we try and help them. If anyone has anyone that needs help, please let me know. Thank you.
John, don't interrupt me.
Councilman Burns?
I know the mayor has been talking about the anniversary of Iwo Jima. Or everybody knows, my heart is with the veterans, but there was 7,000 men killed at Iwo Jima. And you think about it, and me being a Vietnam vet, like, who the hell had the worst war? You look at Iwo Jima, 7,000 on the beach there, no place to hide. Korea with the Chosin reservoir, they all froze to death. We didn't equip them with shoes or anything. Then we got the hell out of there. Vietnam, they had the Tet Offensive, every war. And now Afghanistan and Iraq, they're kicking down a door and then there's a surprise waiting for them, or they're driving down the highway and next thing you know, there's a bang and they don't have any legs. So it's every war and we really have to appreciate what our vets go through. When they come home without legs, that's forever. They're not going to grow back. So just remember our vets. I see some of these debates on TV, they don't even have a damn American flag up. So that's one thing. How do we get the corrections, Ocean County Corrections, to pick up trash? I know they do this highway here, but the behind the McDonald's and the ShopRite is just all full of litter, and the fence is down. And along Bayview, I know the county is out there at times, but if we could request that they spend some time in the town and get the place cleaned up. I know Alan's not here, but we've been looking for the ShopRite exit to come out to that traffic light. And I know that we've applied to DOT for that, Ernie, but there is a curb cut there from the old gas station. So does that count for anything as far as getting a quicker permit to get ShopRite exit at that light?
It still falls under the jurisdiction of the DOT. We need them to authorize it.
But they must have authorized it at one time, right?
For all we know, it could have been vacated. They just never put the full face curb back up. That's the reason we have to start with them.
Okay.
I'd be happy to go out there and put it in.
Well, I was going to just drive over it and come out that way. Okay, if we could look at that, that's important. And I know Fred Bakarian's not here tonight, and we're looking at the school tax. And I'm going to ask the council to authorize the attorney to contact the state and the Commissioner of Education to find out why we're paying such an unequal tax. We pay over 60% tax for our schools. Mount Logan pays 1.5%, right? Lakewood pays 2%. And here we are paying over 60% so they can have a pool and turf and everything else. When they did the Abbott decision, it was for equal pen, equal computer, equal paper. Not that they have everything. This is reverse discrimination. They just gave Lakewood $23 additional million this year when Berkeley was cut. Now, that's even a separation from church and state. Why do they need 126 yeshivas in Lakewood and bust the kids and put it on our back as taxpayers? So let everybody pay their own way. My suggestion to the Senate and to the Assembly was that every kid in the state get $15,000. You want turf fields or a pool, you pay for it out of your own taxes. But we need school fund equalization. I think Fred at the last meeting said that our median income here was about 48 or so. Hoboken, an Abbott district that pays less than 2% school tax, their income is $128,000, and we're supporting them. So we need to snowball this, and every meeting I'll come up with another report. But if we could authorize the attorney, and maybe later on we could go in with Lacey or a couple other towns that are getting beat up. All right, that's 60% of your tax. All right, we need to tweak the,
Is that a motion? Or you-
well, somebody can make the
I'll
motion.
make the motion for that resolution on the school tax.
Second.
Roll call, Councilman Bakkione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
That's you.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Godano?
Yes.
Councilman Gross? Council President Bushio?
Yes.
Okay, we need to tweak the bulkhead ordinance. We did repairs without a permit, and the code and the engineer have been getting beat up out in the field. That people are sticking boards behind the bulkheads, and when you see a super low tide, there's actually no bulkhead left, and the dirt is running out. So, Jim or Ernie, if we could look at that and tweak it, we could help out the code and the zoning. Jim actually did the overlay for undersized lots. Probably by next meeting, we'll authorize the sale of undersized lots to adjacent property owners. It'll put money back into the town. It'll give people a little more property and get them on the tax rolls. We're looking at the dock on the end of Bayview in the Seaside. We want to investigate that water coming out of that pipe again. It's putting out soap and it's coming over to the Bayside. Main Street, the bulkheading is going to be coming around that beach soon. And one other item, and I'm sure Red Callahan's going to like this. Connecticut now, the police are giving out needles and spoons. I think that's a little counterproductive to the narcotics squad that's going out trying to bust these people when you're handing them out needles. All right, so that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Burns. Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes, thank you, President. I have a couple of things. One, I was at the schoolhouse with Administrator John Cameron. And John, they were from the state that were in there, right?
That meeting was actually with the
Environment-
architects.
Architect. I got to go inside of that schoolhouse, and it really
You didn't
needs,
go too far, did you?
we really needs a lot of work.
She just went in to look at her old desk.
I asked her to lead the way in because I was concerned with the flooring.
It was kind of cushy, you know, one of the residents,
First 10 steps are easy.
yeah, I know, send Judy in, and, you know, let her go through the floor. You'd all love that. But the point is, there was a resident there from Manitou, and they were really happy that we were moving on the schoolhouse. It was really a good thing. I have to tell you, well, when we were doing the bill, if people can understand, some people don't understand, when we were fighting the bill 2425, how we got that done was very important. We tied up Trenton, and we did petitions. So there's a lot of us that are on Facebook, and with what Councilman Burns is talking about, we've decided to tie up Trenton the same way. It does work. We're going to go after Trenton on a lot of these things that are not working. We find that the only way that they seem to pay attention, we made it so they couldn't even use their phones. And we did petitions. So a lot of my friends on Facebook, and I'm really good at petitions and getting in their face, because Senator Singleton made a comment to one of the lobbyists about my bill, because it went into a pocket vote, they call it. They didn't care about us down here. Well, I feel that way anyway. I got in trouble for saying the South should leave the North. But I think taking one of the things that Councilman Burns wants to do, we are going to do that, because I have every phone number, every email of everybody that's in Trenton. So we have decided we're going to we have to get a cover for the petition, and I'm going to give out every email, every phone number to every Senate, every Assembly person, and into the governor. So I think that's the only way we seem to get any attention is when they can't use their telephones. We got to take one issue and get these people to pay attention to us. It seems to be the only thing that they seem to, when they couldn't answer the phones, and they literally said, Mrs. Noonan, could you stop the phones? I said, no, because they couldn't work, because the phone calls kept coming. And it seems naive, but it did get on their nerves. I mean, I called Sweeney. We went after everybody. and Singleton couldn't understand why the governor didn't vote on the bill. But I also, if you remember, I think he's talking about something to do with trying to make the environment cleaner, and he wants to do something to New Jersey, which would increase our electric bill. He wants to go after the gas things. So when I get that petition together, there's a lot of people on my Facebook. It sounds naive, but you know, Mr. Burns talks about it all, Councilman Burns. We don't seem to be getting any attention. So I think that that's what we're going to do. If it's my last hurrah, that's what I'm going to do. And we're going to go down to Trenton, and we testified, we need to shake the tree. But other than that, I really don't have too much to say. Our bill is in the pocket, and that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Noonan. Councilman Guadagno.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to say that we had a rec committee meeting last week, and it was very productive. Some of the things we discussed were improvements that we're going to try to make at Vets Park. One of the things that we discussed, and John and Tom were both in attendance, that we want to make sure that we get pickleball courts painted on our vet tennis courts as fast as we can. I know we did it last year out in South Seaside. It's a great little sport. They cut the tennis court in half. A lot of people are able to play it. It's growing enormously at a high rate, so it's something that we want to be able to supply to our residents, and it's pretty much at a low cost, so that'd be a great thing. Another thing that we talked about, and I really am pushing for, is some type of mile walking path at Vets Park. I'm going to talk to Ernie about that and see what we can get. John and Ray want to talk about that and see what we can do about that. It's real important, I think, that we can offer something where our citizens can go to Vets Park and walk some type of mile course like they have at other parks in other towns. And we could keep people from walking off the main roads there, because when we have football and a lot of events there, people are walking in the main roads, and something I'm sure will happen eventually. That's not going to happen. That's not going to be great. So we're going to look into that. Also, I'm happy to announce that both of our farmer markets are back next year. The one at the Rec Center on Tuesdays will be there, and the one in South Seaside Park will be on Monday and Friday again. We'll get an exact start date probably for next meeting, but I believe we're going to start mid-May, I think, for those two markets. The one thing I did want to bring up tonight is that our Recreation Department holds a summer job fair where we are going to talk about hiring different kids in different ages for different positions. I brought one of our supervisors, Mark Dykoff, to come over here to better explain it. I think it's a great opportunity for anybody that lives in Berkeley Township to have a job available, right? Thanks, Mark.
Thank you, members of the council, for allowing me to speak. My name is Mark Dykoff. I'm the co-director of Recreation for Berkeley Township. We are having a job fair this coming March 7th, and we'll be hiring over 70 employees and varying positions. We'll be lifeguards at both of our locations, South Seaside Park and Dudley Park, beach bag checkers and cashiers. Those both positions must be available on weekends. That's when a lot of people go to the beach. Camp counselors, and there'll be different positions available for camp counselors. We'll be looking for supervisors. We'll be looking for regular counselors. And the nice thing about the regular counselors, we'll be hiring 16 and 17-year-olds as well. It'll be a limited number of those, but we'll be looking for those to grow with our program. A new, well, not a new, but a repurposed program that we want to implement is called an LIT program. And this program is for 14 and 15-year-olds. So in a brief summary, a 14 and 15-year-old may join our LIT, Leaders in Training program. This unpaid position will give them valuable experience as a future camp counselor. They will be given the opportunity to learn exceptional skills that will help make them a strong future leader. The LIT program will help them bridge the gap to becoming a paid staff member. LITs will shadow and work side by side with veteran counselors who have demonstrated exceptional leadership skills and work ethics. This position can be counted as community service hours. Many of our youth go for honor society, and it looks good in the resume that they volunteered. The position will be used primarily for younger age group. We don't want young kids or older kids supervising kids almost their age. One other thing, we'll be beginning registration for our summer camp on May 1st. You can either apply on our website or come into our rec center. And same thing, we are having the job fair on March 7th at 11 a.m. But if no one's available, if you're not available to come that day, feel free to stop into the rec center, fill out an application, and Like I said, we need to hire over 70 individuals. We want to get some of those youth out there and work in the township. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. That's all I got, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Guadagno. Councilman Gross.
Yep, I have 3 bills that are on the floor, on the Senate and Assembly floors. I wanted to get some support on these so we can send a resolution in support of these. The first one is leaving the scene of an accident currently is a second-degree offense, and S364 is proposing it's upgraded to a first-degree offense. So instead of upon conviction of 5 to 10 year with a possible $150,000 fine, it moves up to 10 to 20 years, a fine of up to $200,000 or both. So I think that's a good idea. Obviously, first-degree offense is tantamount to homicide, so I'm in agreement with that.
Do you want them all together or
Yeah, I
one at a
was
time?
just going to say, could it be quicker if we do it that way, or do I have to do one at a time, Lauren?
No, you can do it all together,
Okay.
and they can still be separate resolutions.
Okay, great. And trying to get those quickly. And the second one is kind of interesting, A616 on the assembly floor, a student dropout prevention task force. So, yeah, they have, it's codified here in who they would like to include in this, but it's a bipartisan attempt at forming an organization to try to keep kids from dropping out. I don't know if it's just a feel-good thing or if this thing is actually going to work, but when I read it, it sounded like a good idea. Because you drop out of school, you don't really have too much of a fighting chance at good jobs like everybody else. So that's A616. It's going to be called the Student Dropout Prevention Task Force, if that can get enough traction, so I'd like supporting that as well. And then being the sex crimes detective, I'd kind of be remiss if I didn't do this one. They have, so for those of you who don't know it, and we just happened just to have done one last week, Megan's Law notifications in New Jersey are the only state, I believe the only state in the union, that we actually have to go door to door and knock on your door. So we had about 50 of us last Wednesday doing this in the east end of town in Township, River, where I work. But this is a bill to make those, so, to some degree, the notification would be by email. Most states use a postcard. I mean, I know you're probably looking at me like, really? In this day and age, you go door to door with technology? Yeah, welcome to New Jersey. So in any case, S205 is a suggestion that for certain offenses and certain people, and I think this is a good first step towards that endeavor, to be notified via electronic mail when, of course, sex offenders are moving jobs or residences. So the one that we happen to do, the gentleman, I'll use that term loosely, was at a motel. I can't say much more than that. And the day after we did this, he was entitled to obviously pick up his suitcase out of the motel and leave. So then we would have been out there again this week doing it. So it's very, it's very inefficient. It's not streamlined. It's kind of ridiculous. So when I saw this, I thought it was a good idea. So if the council would support me on those 3, and
I'll make
I'd
the
appreciate it.
motion on the 3,
Thanks, Julie.
Roll call, Councilman Bacchione,
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich,
Yes.
Councilman Burns,
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan,
yes.
Councilman Guadagno,
Yes.
Councilman Gross,
Yes and all, and thank the council for your support.
Council President Bushio.
Yes.
Through the chair, before you talk, I have something I want to go back and ask the administration about. I know that the traffic did it, but making 30 miles an hour, not that I think that that's a bad thing, but I think once you do that, I happen to know that in certain areas they want to increase their speed. Was it not posted at 25 now?
Yes.
And what made them change it to 30?
They did a traffic
What was
study.
the reason?
The residents requested it.
Okay, because
So
I
Carefree
have,
then
community, yeah.
We did a traffic study, and
I'm
the
not-
85 percentile was over.
33, I think,
listen,
yeah.
I got a red foot, I just haven't gotten caught. I admit it. 30 is, I'm not knocking 30, but it so happens over in the Westerly, at one time they asked me the same thing. They said, and I don't know how they do that survey, how they track the traffic to increase it like
If you
that.
have an area that you want us to do a survey,
The
we
homeowners
absolutely
did.
we will.
I didn't know that we
So
could,
give
we would
me-
do it.
Give me a street and we'll sit down.
Truthfully, I think 30 is more reasonable than 25.
Okay.
I just wanted to, thank you very much. That's it, I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay, Councilman Burns, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, one other thing, we had that fire over in Sonata Bay. Last Sunday, I went over there with the mayor. We were fortunate that it was a Sunday, and we had a lot of firefighters available. But it seems like the fires are becoming more severe. You know, I don't know whether it's the houses are isolated the way they're built, that the roof can burn off before you know it, but, you know, we really need to check your smoke detectors and, you know, go over that, because it just looks like, you know, Patterson, they just lost a few people. It's a little different, but, you know, check that. And just to add what Councilman Gross said, last meeting, I did say that if you have a dropout in Asbury Park that attends 2 years, drops out, that's $75,000, and then he steals a car or whatever and goes to Jamesburg for 2 years, he comes out of there with a GED for $650,000. So not bad. What they need is to find a full-time vocational and put these dropouts in there and let them wind up like me. All right, thank you.
Okay, item 6, discussion by the township engineer.
You got nothing to say?
Everybody's spoken.
Thank you, Council President. A is a change order for Earl Asphalt Company for the Puerto Vallarta Street resurfacing project. It was actually technically a decrease in the contract value. That's on the official agenda as item 11.16. B is the release of inspection fees for Country Woods at Berkeley, an older project which has been closed out, which is on the official agenda as item 11.17. C is the authorization to advertise and receive bids for the police station drainage improvements. Anyone who's not happy about that, please see the police chief. It's on the official agenda as item 11.18. 6D is the authorization to advertise and receive bids for Sloop Creek Road, Bay Boulevard, and 24th Avenue roadway improvements. On the official agenda is item 11.19. And lastly, 6E is the authorization to advertise to rebid the improvements for Berkeley Roads 2019, which is on the official agenda as item 11.20. That's all, thank you.
I only have a question for the Sloop Creek. Where on Sloop Creek?
Is that by CNC Marina?
It's from Bayview east to the bay where CNC Marina
Okay,
is.
thank
We're
you.
gonna raise, technically, we're gonna raise the road.
Okay. That's not going to create any problems further back then, or no?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Okay, I believe the meeting is now open for public comment. We had Jerry Morey. Please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening, my name is Jerry Morey, 102 Serpentine Drive East, Bayville, New Jersey. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. As most of you know, I am the official township historian, a title that I don't deserve. Some of the things I'd like to speak about tonight is that, one, in being the historian and the president of the Historical Society, it's been a great eye-opener to me, the way this society has been run. I can't thank this administration enough for stepping up and doing repairs to the building that we have that have never been done since I was a police officer there over 40 years ago. I still remember going in for roll call in the basement and walking on the pallets because the basement was always flooded. We've done some great things in there, but in reality what I'd like to see is the Township Council appoint a council liaison to the Historical Society for some of the projects that we need done. The other thing I'd like to do is to have the council appoint an official historian. Yes, I have a degree in criminal justice. That doesn't make me a historian. There are people in this town and members of our Historical Society that actually do have degrees that qualify them for this, and I'd like to see one of them appointed by the town. The examples I'll give you, whether you like him or not, is Lieutenant Dave Butler from New Jersey State Police, has a master's degree in library science. You have my wife, who has her degree in history and is a retired history teacher. We have Pat Moore, who's my first vice president at the Historical Society, has her master's degree in administration and works at the County Historical Society. So we have Steve Bailey, who also has a master's degree in history and is a college professor. So there are a number of people, just off the top of my head, that qualify for this position because there's so many historical sites in our town that are being lost every day. And once the sites are gone, we can never get them back again. And you've mentioned a couple of them already tonight. And on my list, one of the things that we did at the my taking office on January 1st, we reopened the Berkeley Township Historical Facebook page. And at the current time, we have 875 people that are watching that page. We have not had one derogatory remark. Everything's been positive. People have brought back pictures that we haven't seen in years. Dan Clay, and that's why I brought these books. For those of you who don't know, this was the 100th anniversary of our town back in 1975. Dan Clay was the historian that put this whole thing together. And then back in 1979, I brought 10 copies, so it should be enough for all of you. 10 copies. This was the dedication of this building and the building next door. And yes, when you open up the first page and you look at, I apologize for you, but when you look at the mayor's comment, yes, that is my father. He was the mayor of the town at that time. So there's a lot of history in this town that we're losing day by day by day that I'd like to see us keep. One of the things I'd like to say is that this is Black History Month. And two people I'd like to pay honor to is, one is Ed Talbert, who was mayor of this town, and a black mayor of this town, and black councilman, and did a lot for this town. The other one for me is personal, is Lieutenant Deb Hester. Deb Hester was lieutenant when I first joined the police department, and anytime I was in Manitou Park where he lived, I'd always make sure to stop by and see Deb. So those are the people that I'd like to pay honor to for just this month alone. But on top of that, the other things that I wanted to talk about, oh boy, this thing doesn't end. Deb Hester, also I had spoken to the mayor on a few occasions about some of the things I'd like to see the Historical Society get involved in and do. And with that, we need the help of the town. One of them is that on the August the 18th of this year will be the enactment of the 19th Amendment 100th anniversary. And for those who don't know what that is, the 19th Amendment gave the women the right to vote. So with that, I would like to pay special honor to women of our town that have made a difference that have passed. Obviously, people like Betty Grogan, who was a female mayor of our town, Lee Iasello, who was a councilwoman, people who worked for the town. Those of you who don't remember Marie Benedicto, B. Iden, there were many women who made a difference in our town, and I'd like the town to pay honor to them. Speak up.
Carmela Lewis.
Carmela Lewis, that's right, Carmela Lewis.
Last elected clerk.
Right. Those are people that I'd like to see the town, well, that's where I need the Township Council to jump on board with this, because I would like it that our Township Historical, I still say it, our Township Historical Society, we will have displays at the township events this coming summer. But I'd like to see the township also do something special in memoriam to all of those women that have made a difference to our town, especially in light of the fact. And the reason August the 18th is important, even though the 18th Amendment or 19th Amendment was passed a year prior to that, it was the state of Tennessee that finally ratified it, that made it a law. And that's why it's August the 18th. So I'd like our town to do something in memoriam to them. The other thing is, and you mentioned this before, about the school in Manitou. Luckily for me, I was a police officer a long time ago in this town, and I did bicycle rodeos there. I did safety talks when that school was still open. I had the opportunity to spend many times in that school. To me, that school holds a special place in my heart too. And also, since you're aware of it, there's only 2 locations in our town that are on the National Historic Registry. Number 14 is Double Trouble State Park, and number 25 is the Black School in Manitou. I was hoping that at some point in time that school would be rebuilt, and that the Berkeley Township Historical Society would be given a room there, that we could pay honor to some of those people that I remember when I was on the job that made a difference in that town. So those are some of the things that we've been looking at that we'd like to do. And that's why I thank Councilman Burns and Councilman Noonan for bringing up these issues. I know Councilman Bacchione has been begging me for an application. Sorry, I only have 5 tonight, but I'll make sure you get one. I'd like each one of the council people to take one of the books so that they can see some of the history of our town. Also, the other thing that the mayor and I have spoken about, well, here we go. It was back in 1975 that we had the 100th anniversary of our town. Well, in 5 years, we will have the 150th anniversary of our town. And the mayor has already spoken to me about us doing something starting now, putting a plan together to have some sort of a township-wide series of events for the anniversary in their 5 years. Sounds like it's a long way off, but you'd be surprised how quickly it comes. And it'd be nice to have something that brings our town together. And these are things that we're looking at, especially with the Historical Society. One of the other things that we had talked about, I wanted to do a Dickens-themed Christmas. As some of you council people know, Santa Claus did pay a visit here at one point in time. And just so you're aware of it, my wife is a member of what's called the Survivors of the Triangle. Her uncle was Trooper Werner Forrester, that was murdered by Joanne Chesmar. So needless to say, Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus this year paid a visit to the Survivors of the Triangle Christmas party for all the children of the troopers who have lost their lives. With that, what happens at the state police, at the old barracks, they have a Christmas tree, just like we put up back here. But the difference is, what the state police does, is that every Christmas ball is significant to the troopers. So they have blue Christmas ornaments with the state police triangle on it, and if there's a family member who has lost their life, their name is written on that with the end of watch. That, in my theory, is if we have a Christmas tree back here on this side and a Christmas tree on that side, well, obviously we would only need one logo for the ornament, but I'd like to see blue ornaments in the back for our police officers, red ornaments for our firefighters, and then leave it up to the town to figure out what you'd want to do for other township employees as far as the color. But it'd be nice to pay honor to those people that have dedicated their lives to this town and are no longer with us. Matter of fact, when I was picking these books up tonight, I could still hear Sam Britton yelling at me from the second floor. So that was an important one to me. So those are one of the things we'd like to do, is that Christmas tree in the back, the Dickens theme for this coming year. We were hoping that we would have the Historical Society to a point where we could do it. Unfortunately, like I said, this is the first administration that's actually stepped up and done something for that building. The state that it was in, if it hadn't been taken care of now, it probably would have been leveled in the next few years. And that's the saddest part about it. And it still needs a lot of work. What we'd like to do is this year, around Christmas time, is to set up the Historical Society in a Dickens theme. My wife is down there at the school now with Tommy P. and the Alumni Association, trying to get the choir. So they'd be dressed up as Dickens carolers. Obviously, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, at some point in time, would be making an appearance at the Recreation Building, if Mr. Dykoff allows us to be in there. So this brings the town together once again, having a time when it's close to Christmas and doing something positive for our town. So those are some of the things that I'd like to do, but to me, it's most important is that we actually establish a township historian, someone who is trained and knowledgeable. I mean, I can read all day long, but there's people who do this for a living, and that's what I'd like to see. Because unfortunately, one of the other things with our Historical Society, we need to get computers, and not just regular computers. We need high-quality graphics computers that could actually document everything that's in that building. Because if we don't, and anything ever happens to that building, the entire history of this town is lost forever, never to be recovered. So those are some of the things that I wanted to bring forward. Dickens' theme pretty much covers it. I think I've
Terrific.
hit everything I wanted. Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, I have a question for,
Go.
Yes,
is
sir.
that building sprinkled?
What's that?
Is that building sprinkled?
One of our former presidents decided to do some
So it's
plumbing
not?
work. Plumbing work, and he forgot to read the part that says hand tighten. So our sprinkler system was the bucket that was under a toilet that you had to empty every week. No, we do not have sprinklers in there. We do not have a burglar alarm system in there. The building itself has to be brought up to code. Luckily, the town, thanks to the town, over the last few weeks, Iggy came in and replaced the one fire extinguisher that we had that expired 10 years ago, and has put in half a dozen new fire extinguishers. I'm sorry, what's that?
Can you put the little smoke alarms in there too?
Those we have from the fire department. The problem with that is
Who's gonna hear
that
it?
unless somebody's driving by the building and notices the flames, every building around us is empty.
Through the chair, could we not put like the ones they advertise, the Ring that has the one that senses fire and burglar alarm in there? I mean, it's not that expensive, you know, that type, the new modern type of, they have the Ring or the other one that can sense fire, burglary and everything like that. Would that work in that building?
If you want to do it, I'd be happy to take it right now. Just give me a check, I'll take it. But one of the, here, I'm going to tell you right
I mean, would
now.
it work in there? I
Well,
mean,
here's one of the problems that we have right now.
because that could ring to the police department. Yeah.
We'd love that. And here's one of the problems we have right now, that over the years, administrations haven't, I said, this administration, I got to have to thank the administrator and the mayor who made a personal visit there. And when they walked through that building, they were amazed at what we had. What we have right now is the electrician is in there working on the building. The plumber is finishing up his part. We have a welder who'll be finishing up his part. But other than that, the changes and the additions that we need to it are new locks, safety locks. The fire inspector was in. Our doors go the wrong way. We have no burglar alarm, no fire alarm. They were removed 20 years ago.
I have one that I never opened, that I bought. I was going to give it to you. It would be a thing for burglar and lights for the back if you put it up. I'd give it to you for free.
I'll take anything you
It's a
have.
nice big one for $200.
I'll take anything you have.
It would help maybe for burglary, but it's a Ring and it does have the lights, the sensor lights and everything. I'll give it to you.
Always remember the policeman's motto, if it's free, it's from me, and I'll take 3.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
Okay, guys, I need to keep this meeting moving along.
Okay,
Thank you, Jerry.
One more thing, here's one more thing that I have to go through.
30 seconds.
And this is it, it's the very last thing. I have to ask all the departments in the town to stop throwing out what they consider might be garbage, which to us is historical. The example is the Parks Department the other day called me over and asked me if I would take a photo album. And the photo album was gonna go in the garbage. And it was pictures of employees back from the early 70s to the 80s. On top of that, he also stopped somebody from throwing out a board thanking all the original founders of the Berkeley Little League. That was supposed to go in the garbage. What I need is maybe the council to put out a letter to all the departments that say, if you think it's garbage, see if the Historical Society would like it to document it and save it. And that's pretty much it. All right, thank you.
Through the chair, I move that the council advertise for a Berkeley Township historian and get resumes so we see who wants it and good resumes. Second?
I'll second it. There's a couple.
Okay.
Roll call, Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Guadagno?
Yes.
Councilman Gross?
Yes.
Council President Bushio?
Yes.
Through the chair quickly, if we do decide to have a liaison for the Historical Society, I would love to take that on.
Okay, I'll think about that, Tom.
Alrighty. Do I get paid more for putting up with Jerry?
Exactly. Members of the public, please state your name and your address for the record.
Fred Callahan, 117 Anchor Drive, South Seaside Park. This is for you, John, because the mayor left. Two things.
Sure.
The calendar that's sent out.
For the pickup schedule?
Yeah. Doesn't, if it gets sent out, it doesn't get delivered. So I think why don't you send it regular mail rather than bulk mail to make sure that we get it? Because last Saturday, the truck was running around there, nobody had any garbage out there. So you change the days that you're gonna pick it up with no, you know, the only notification is on that calendar, and nobody's got the calendar.
Check into that and assume the bulk mail is an expense thing, right, that we do, but we'll look at it.
No, what I'm saying is, everybody deserves.
Sure. Yeah, we don't go through all that effort to not want them to get it. Yeah.
First class mail rather than bulk mail. Now, second of all, I saw, I think it was yesterday, you sent a couple of people over to South Seaside Park there to empty the trash bags and trash barrels. And why do you need two people? One to drive the truck and the other one to change the bag? I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'll check with Parks. I didn't specifically do that. I know they do it regularly. Whether or not they think they can do it more efficiently, we'll check.
More efficiently? You don't need two men.
Depending on that one, I will say, you know, the specific job sometimes dictates something. I think regularly, not this time of year, but they go on the beach and go to some locations where they probably have a driver who stays in the truck, and it's more efficient to have somebody picking up. But I'm not familiar with the operation, but I'll take that into consideration.
I watched it, and I saw that one guy goes out and changes the bag, and usually there's very little in there, so, I mean, I'll volunteer.
Somebody saw it.
Give me the truck and do that there. You won't even have to pay me any of the load.
I heard the volunteer part. That's certainly attractive for efficiency.
Right. Thank you.
We'll look at it. Thanks.
Thank you. Get your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, Dory Craig, 6 Browning Avenue in Berkeley Township. And we'll make it brief since you have our printouts. But we're really concerned about the boat storage facility that is going on right now behind our homes. And we have a picture of what it looks like right now.
In case anybody hasn't driven by the area.
And we had all woods behind us prior to this. And this happened very quickly. They had the woods down in no time, and the boat racks went up within a 3-day period. And then after calling, we were told that Berkeley Township didn't know about it. We know in 2014, we received certified mail stating that something was going to be done with that property. We went to the meetings and everything was turned down, and I understand their lawyer withdrew everything, all the applications. But this started, and when it started coming towards me, and it happened really quickly, that's when I started calling. And they continued after the work, there was a work stop order issued, but they still continued taking down trees and pulling down things and putting up the racks. And today, even still, they're moving boats on and off of these storage racks, which we know since it wasn't approved, how safe are they? Apparently, it's not inspected at all. So that's our concern, but also my big concern right now, I recently retired, I want to sell my home and downsize. And my property value is not worth what it was. I mean, I had a beautiful backyard with beautiful woods. We all know that somebody owned that property and something probably would be done with it one day, but we were hoping maybe nice homes or something like that. And I also know when I bought the home 35 years ago, it was landlocked property. So I didn't think anything would go there for a while. But we also know that this guy doesn't have legal access into there, and he's coming in and out of an intersection across from Wawa. That can't be safe. But going forward, I mean, you have all our concerns, but the main thing going forward, well, we would love to have everything taken down and done the right way. But at the least, we would want the top racks of those boat racks removed since they're higher than our roof lines. And then we want privacy fencing and safety fencing put all around the perimeter of the property. I mean, it's dangerous. Kids go in and out of that property. They can climb these racks. We also would like a sound barrier and a privacy barrier put back in, such as Leland cypress or evervite tree, something like that. And mature ones, not little ones that we gotta wait years for them to grow. And we would also like proper stormwater erosion controls followed, because right now, the major 3 properties that are affected, we all have basements. They've been dry. I've never had a leak in my basement in 30 years. So we want to make sure now that we're not going to have that problem, because we understand that that could happen since everything's clear. And we also want to make sure they follow the work ordinance time, since most of this work started at 6 a.m., waking us all up. Very noisy. And the tractors that took down the trees and all were noisy, but these machines that bring the boats up and down are even noisier. And that's going to probably, if this stays there, we're going to have to deal with that spring, summer, and fall when they're bringing these boats in and out. So, as you understand, we're very concerned, with our properties and the value of our properties going forward.
How you
But we have it
doing? Oops, sorry.
easy.
Yeah, she's got the pictures, you can show them. Tom Prosser, Potter's Drive, Bayville. Also, I've been helping the residents of Browning. This guy violated every rule under the sun with this. And for his punishment, he's allowed to use the boat racks. The boat racks are loaded. They should be taken down. He should have to start from square one. It's a safety issue. It's a big hazard with the neighborhood. It's just a disaster. So hopefully everybody received a copy of the concerns that we have. If not, we're going to email them to the mayor so you can get them.
And Tom is a contractor, so he understands the zoning laws and the proper procedures that are supposed to be followed when they're doing construction. And it looks like they broke every rule.
Nothing. I mean, just irrigation and runoff alone, it's already a disaster. So, but as we were told that the next meeting will come to, hopefully it'll be addressed a little more. But the biggest concerns is, like I said, he's got floodlights on all night long. He's using the boat racks that are illegal, that are unsafe, that are uninspected. He's getting a pat on the back for cutting down 8 acres of nice trees and
there's a lot of wildlife. I was
So-
watching a den of fox and the little babies. That was all taken
he had
care
20
of.
boats there before he started clearing. Now there's probably 200 boats there. So,
A lot more than that.
yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot. And he's making money while everybody's everybody's
Well,
suffering
that's
from
what
it.
I'm concerned about,
So-
'cause I want to sell my property and downsize. Now this is happening at the time I want to do that. Everybody's going to question that comes to see the house, what's going on.
And everybody knows Scott Road and Browning. You got the bogs, you got everything back there. It's just,
It was a beautiful neighborhood for the 35 years I've been there, and I bought that house because of that.
So-
And this is really sad what's happened. But if you guys want to take a look, and I had
You could-
labeled the
Wanna hand them around?
property addresses on there.
Through the chair, if I could, just wanted to make sure that you knew that administration has been communicating with the residents and will continue to do that, and all of their concerns, while they're legitimate, when he said they'll be at the next meeting, I believe he was referring to the fact that we made it clear that after it was found out that the work was done there with no approvals, the owner there were stop work orders and summonses issued. The owner came in and applied for a zoning permit to be able to do the work. The zoning permit was denied, meaning that it gets kicked to a board. It appears that it might be a planning board. Everything they said was correct about the fact that there had been an application years ago that was withdrawn. I know in that application, when they wanted to do construction back there, there was a 10-page letter from the engineer's office, a 5 or 6-page letter from the planner at the time. So I think these things will all be addressed, but the proper venue is not for the council to address and start talking about what you think should be there or the height, because we don't want to overstep what the council should be talking about before it even goes to the board.
The other biggest concern that we have is, like I said, there's a stop work notice, but they're saying it's just stop work for construction. He's allowed to use the boat racks, he's allowed to use the property like nothing's wrong. So, and it's affecting everybody.
Safety concern. There's
Yes.
no fencing in place.
And again, that's one thing that's on the letter, it brought up the Hickory Lane tragedy. When that property wasn't fenced in, somebody died. So then now you have boats, which is a little more serious than, hunks of granite. So we don't know how safe the structure is, we don't know what the footings are, they're not grounded, there's electric run through it, everything wrong with this scenario. So we appreciate your help with this.
Judy, I don't think they really want us to comment.
Yeah.
No, I'm just asking a question.
Yep, there's lots of laws that
I'm asking
come
a
into
question,
play.
if you don't mind.
Right, we just don't want to get
Is there a law?
into
No,
specifics,
No,
yeah.
no, is there a law?
Lots of them.
About the boat race?
Yep, lots of them about everything that was done.
I just want to add that I went out there to look at the, and it's, everything they say, it's maybe an understatement, yeah, I was shocked, so to say the least, so I'll leave it at that.
And we appreciate that you did come out and see.
It was an eye-opener.
Yes, and you have to be there in person to really see it. And thank you too for coming out. I heard you came out today.
Happy to do it, and we all have the same
We
concerns.
appreciate it.
Yep.
Just hope that this can be corrected going forward, that's all.
Yeah, I said if anybody didn't receive a copy of this, we're going to email it to the mayor.
Yep.
So we
Mayor,
can
I
have it
have
for
the
his
mayor's
records.
copy with
Thank
this
you.
paperwork.
Thank you.
We're good, thank you.
Any other members of the public?
My name is Nancy Rademacher. I also live on Browning Avenue. I've been there since 1979. And I moved there because it was a beautiful neighborhood. I wanted sidewalks and trees, and that's what I got. I raised my family there, and there is a point where someday I'm going to have to leave to downsize. I recently put in a small deck, and my deck had to be inspected 4 times. And I see what's going on behind me, and it breaks my heart. Some of us are ready to leave, or down the road. They try to sell their house with that in the background. What are they going to get for it? The comps in the neighborhood are going through down the tubes. And I feel sorry for some of the young couples that just moved in, not knowing what this was going to happen. The safety is an issue, the trees are an issue, the animals are an issue, and the property being landlocked, getting in and out of there with all these trailers and boats and right onto Route 9, and the safety with having a fence. So the only thing I could say to the planning board is we set a precedent with this contractor doing what he wants and let him get away with that without doing something very severe. We're setting a precedent for everything that's going currently in the northern part of Ocean County that we're all aware of. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, Beth. Okay. Motion to close the floor?
Motion to close.
Second?
All in favor? Resolution number 19-103-R regarding closed session. Whereas we are about to discuss matters which deal with one or more of the statutory exceptions under the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, which allows the exclusion of the public during said discussions, and whereas the matters to be discussed relate to contractual and personnel. Whereas this may be discussed to the public at a time when the necessity for confidentiality no longer exists or within 6 months or less from the date hereof. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Berkeley, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, as follows. 1, that the Township Council shall retire into executive session where the public shall be excluded and where said matters shall be discussed and formal action may be taken with regard thereto. 2, that the minutes of this executive session shall be closed from public inspection and shall so remain until the reason for confidentiality ceases to exist or upon formal action by the Township Council at an official meeting within 6 months or less. 3, that at the termination of said executive session, the meeting would be adjourned. Motion to approve?
Motion.
Councilman Bacchione?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gingrich? Yes. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilwoman Noonan?
Yes.
Councilman Gadano?
Yes.
Councilman Gross? Council President Bushio?
Yes.